morning. Thanks for joining me at Coffee with Kory. We had a fabulous time in Florida this week. I want to catch you guys up on that before we go into anything else. Of course, the trips for me always begin with my early morning trips to the beach, getting the time by myself under the stars, waiting on the sun to come up is something that I cherish every time we go and provides that peace and serenity that I can't find anywhere else. And I know I mention that every time we come back from Florida, but it was the same this time as well. The ladies on the trip did a thing where if you are connected with us personally on social media, you're already aware of it. But our oldest granddaughter, Layla, got her first tattoo, and then Jossie and Cassidy got matching tattoos of palm trees with a little nod, obviously, to Florida there. So thought that was really cool. I was thrilled that I was able to be a part of the trip where that happened. Pierce joined me on one of the early morning trips to the beach, so that might have been one of our highlights. Well, it was a highlight for me. I'm not sure it was for Pierce, because I'm telling you guys, that was probably the coldest morning that I've ever experienced in Florida. Between the temperature and then the fierce wind that morning, it was pretty brutal, and might make Pierce opt for sleep rather than a beach trip the next time we're there and I'm getting up before sunrise. But he was a trooper. We hung out, we captured a few photos of the sunrise, and then headed back to the house. But it was fun to have him join me. And then, that was Florida. So then I get back this week, writing purchase agreements for a few different buyers. And that's the one work thing that I want to touch on, because for one buyer, we were talking about the difference between closing at the end of March and closing the first week in April on their house, and what that would do for their monthly payment. So as we were talking about it, I'm like, okay, well, if you close on March 30th, your first payment is going to be due on May 1st, because with a mortgage payment, you're always paying your interest in arrears. So you close on March 30th, you make your first payment on May 1st, and you're paying April's interest, is how that would work. If you close the first week in April, your first payment isn't going to be due until June 1st. Because basically what happens is on that first, let's just call it April 5th, for instance. You close on April 5th, you're paying your interest for April on when you actually close on the loan. So you're paying that, and that makes your cash that you got to bring to closing is more if you close that first week in April. But then your first payment isn't due until the 1st of June. So for a lot of buyers, if they're trying to balance everything out, they're coming from a rental property where maybe they've got to pay rent for a couple more months after they close on their house, and they're trying to structure it, it's good to kind of know how those things work. So, once again, you're probably not going to grasp all of that from our little coffee conversation here, but it does bear bringing up that if you're concerned about when your first mortgage payment's going to be due, talk to your realtor, talk to your lender, and they can kind of help you work through that scenario and whatever ends up working best for you. So that's the work item. I want to leave you with one item, and it's a nod to my coffee cup. This coffee cup was given to me by Grace Majeski when she asked me to walk her down the aisle for her wedding here over a year ago now. And I've never drank out of it before. I display it here at Tavern 88, and I actually, when I came down here this morning, I had another coffee cup filled up and was going to record with that one. But as I saw that cup this morning, it reminded me of a thought and a feeling that I had as I left Bean Point for the last time on this trip. I go to a number of different beaches to get my early morning stroll in and the sunrise pictures and all of that. But I think I've mentioned this before, there's something special about Bean Point, and I think it's because it's on the end of the island, and as you look out, there's really nothing out there that you can really see. And so it really holds that special place for me. And as I left there on the last morning, I had this movie, the movie scene from The Wizard of Oz playing in my head, where Dorothy says to Scarecrow, "I think I'll miss you most of all, Scarecrow." I found myself feeling that way as I left Bean Point. And it's just one of those things where I can't wait to get back there again and experience that. And as I came down and I saw this coffee cup that says "You are my favorite," it kind of made me think about that this morning. And so I figured I'd wash the dust off the cup and relay that story to you guys and drink out of this coffee cup that Grace was nice enough to give me. So there's that. I'll make another appeal if there's something in your life where you get to experience a lot of different items associated with it, but there's one thing in particular that's maybe your favorite. I'd love to hear about it, because I think we all have those in our different areas of life. And like I said, for me, my favorite beach, Bean Point. And again, hopefully you guys will share some of those thoughts and experiences with us here on Coffee with Kory. I appreciate you for joining me, and I hope to see you again next week at Coffee with Kory.